Welcome back to the Gruber Morning Show. I'm Pete Gruber.
And I'm Zane Courtney.
And we're here to entertain you, all things related EV and alternative energy. That picture behind us is actually a house on the south side of Camelback Mountain here.
What are you talking about, Pete? That's just a rock.
Yeah, it's a big, gigantic rock. And if you go to the left there, you see a garage door. Let me get out of the way.
There you go, yeah.
Let me pull it up for the audience.
Yeah. And if you go around that spot, I couldn't take all of the pictures there. I just got.
Oh, there we go.
How big that is, yeah. You can see the garage door, and this guy actually built the garage into the mountain.
Look at that.
Yeah, I think this is Bruce Wayne.
100%. Yeah. Or Lex Luthor.
Yeah, but on the north side is the house. Again, spectacular elevation, views, all of that red rock there. It's just gorgeous. And I usually like taking my cars up there to do photo shoots because there's a street there called High Cliff Drive on the south side of Camelback, and you've got all these cool houses. One of them is actually a castle. This dentist apparently years ago decided I need a castle just like the Europeans used to do.
How have I not seen this? This is on the other side of Camelback? That's like right here.
South side, if you're on Camelback, you can take, I forget what the name of that road is, but you go north right by Camelback Mountain there and then eventually end up on High Cliff Drive. But anyway, that's what that's about. That's a Tesla Roadster that's sitting right in that driveway there, and it looks like it belongs there.
Well, it does, because it also belongs on this show.
Yeah.
What a perfect little mix.
So speaking of cool cars and supercars, the Taliban has released and built a supercar, not to be left out, mind you.
Nope. Hey, it's a big game. Everybody wants a piece of it.
Yeah. They apparently didn't want to be left out, so they spent 5 years building it. Engineers from a couple of places. Let's see, Entop is the company. 30 engineers in a manufacturing company called Entop in Afghanistan. And in also Kabul's Afghanistan Technical Vocational Institute was involved in this design. Can we throw up that picture, guys?
With the
There we go. And, it looks like a supercar. It sits low.
It does.
It's wedge-shaped.
It looks like a puma.
Yeah, a couple of scary
a certain
guys.
Hellcat, if you will.
Standing in front of it there. Apparently, they've been promoting this thing, and it doesn't really drive yet, is what people are suspecting, because it has never really been moving around in pictures. But they say that it is powered by a Toyota Corolla engine. And eventually they want to make this electric. So Taliban, you're headed in the right direction.
It's a JDM project is what this is. This is for street racing.
So its capabilities on the road remain to be seen. The vehicle is immobile, as they say, and all the footage that's circulating on social media so far has been stationary. They also add it's unlikely to rival the likes of Bugatti and McLaren, and we can probably throw Ferrari and Lamborghini in there as well, with the team behind the Mata 9. And it's called the Mata 9, by the way. So the Taliban spokesman, and I hope I pronounced this right, Zabihullah Mujahid, proudly posted pictures of the car on social media and said that the construction was an honor for the whole country, Afghanistan, of course. So, congratulations if these guys pull it off and make it electric, and we would love to see the Taliban do some planet-saving initiatives and participate with the rest of us.
Let's be clear, we want to see the world go green, but we do not support the Taliban.
All right.
Very strong disclaimer.
We have a strong disclaimer from our...
I mean, hey, it's fun. We got some people coming in already. Good morning from Phoenix, Arizona. InstaRay on Instagram. Welcome, good morning. Smuggler on TikTok says, "What's up?" I think he also pointed out that the supercar's got a 4-banger from the Corolla.
Yeah.
And Soldastone on Instagram says, "Good morning, gentlemen." Good morning, Soldastone, yourself. Yeah, it's that was like one of the that threw me That piece
Oh, the
of news
engine?
threw
you
me
mean?
a little
Well,
bit.
you know, the other thing is it's a mid-mount engine, so the engine sits right behind the driver,
Oh,
basically.
Okay.
Well-
it's a performance vehicle.
Pete, didn't we left a lot of equipment over there when we left? They could have just swapped out the engine from an MRAP or from one of our other big ticket vehicles and thrown it in there and made it real loud and real,
Good
Nah,
point.
they're making a racer.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
This is JDM territory now. They're going initial D.
Of course, they had to keep it small, so they couldn't use a tank engine or some of that heavy
Well, yeah,
equipment that
exactly.
we left over there.
I don't
but-
know. They're not thinking big enough. I think they could have.
I think that's something that both of us need to get in on is taking a tank engine and making it into a mid-engine supercar.
There we go. I'm on board.
You down? I'm down.
It'll be interesting if they come to us at some point and say, "Hey, can you guys help us electrify this Model 9?"
That would be something else.
It would be, yes.
It's the year is 2045. The Amada 9. It's the best-selling hybrid in America.
Pete, I'll go a lot of places for this company. I'll go anywhere in the States and anywhere in Europe, but I'm not going to Afghanistan to help them electrify that car, okay?
Yeah.
Suit yourself. I'll give it a whirl. I'll say hi.
Could be fun, yeah. So, there's been a lot of talk about the Tesla price drops, right?
Sure has, yeah.
And, of course, the objective was, let's get some year-end sales going so, it makes the bottom line look better and all that. Can we throw up that graph? I was astonished what the graph for Model 3 and Model Y inventory levels looked like when they announced this. You see that steep drop on the far
Look
right
at the
there?
steep rise.
Yeah.
That's incredible. This is
So-
through just the last month, or is this month to date?
This was last quarter of last year.
Last quarter, okay.
Yeah, and you can see that there was an inventory buildup. People were holding out for things like that tax credit, and
Right.
So Tesla is in a unique position. They're I believe, the highest margin auto manufacturer on the planet right now. So they've got wiggle room. If they want to do some price cuts and still remain profitable to make the shareholders happy, they can do stuff like this.
Well, we've seen how all the production ramping over the last couple of months, what with new gigapresses and new facilities being built overseas. Yeah, it's no surprise that they were able to build up such a big inventory and then just allow that to happen. I mean, that's some genius planning on their end.
So it looks like we got an Instagram visitor, mtobin9220. Good morning, guys. Watching you on the drive-in in the T-car.
Hey, going into work. We love getting to join you guys on your journey. Thank you for joining us. And he's driving a Tesla.
You know what I found last week? We're talking about people watching our podcast. Our service center there, big 75-inch screen on our tribute wall. They actually cranked up our podcast now, and full volume, and everybody in the service center hears what we're saying. So again, if
We
you guys
love
have,
you guys.
yeah,
And I need to come and actually say hi to you guys. So you guys are doing wonderful, and I will make it in to get to personally thank you.
so if you guys have questions related to specific things that are going on in the service center, you can ask them, because at some point they're going to see that that question, and they usually chime in just like you do here on our question line and respond. All
Well,
right.
let's see. So we've got a comment here from Soul to Stone on Instagram. Under no conditions should we be promoting the Taliban. It's not electric, and it has no relevance to the show or any of the people watching. Keep in mind, some of the people watching are vets. Well, we do want to be sensitive to all of our viewers, and we want to be clear that this is just a piece of news. We're here to commentate on some things. It's news.
It's news, yes. We present the news. We're not going to cast any judgments or present any opinions about the validity of what they're doing, other than
It exists.
maybe they will redeem themselves in some way by going green and beginning to make some planet-saving
I mean, most
products.
hypercars are not particularly green.
Yeah,
but-
good point. Good point. Later on in the show here, we'll talk about that new Tesla Roadster too.
Sure.
Yeah, that's an exciting thing coming up. In the meantime, though, the Jeep Avenger apparently is the winner of the 2023 Car of the Year award. It was a ceremony that was held in Brussels at the International Motor Show. The Avenger has obtained 328 points and 21 best votes as the car from the Car of the Year juries. It's the first time that an American brand of the Stellantis Group has won this prestigious trophy. and it'll be the 60th. It celebrates its 60th edition. Remember, this car's been around for a long time. World War I, I think. Jeeps.
Because they're not sold in America. The Avenger is
they're
not
not?
sold. No.
Oh, okay.
Avengers aren't sold in America. I think that they've started to create the 4xe Avenger, if I'm remembering it right. There's the Wrangler, and I believe the Avenger is it's a European export that
Okay.
Jeep does.
Okay.
Because I looked into it a little bit, and that would sell like hotcakes in America. It's a cool little compact crossover SUV sort of a thing made by Jeep. And I guess it is more inspired by some of their earlier Willys models, but as far as I know, they're not being sold. They're not sold in America. I know that much. So it is kind of funny that it's like, hey, the people that can get them love them. Mm-hmm. I don't blame them.
Cool. There were some runner-ups. The next closest runner-up was 241 votes, which was the Volkswagen ID Buzz.
The Buzz?
Yeah.
That's not even out yet. Is it?
Well, I don't know.
It's not out. It was at CES.
And then the Nissan Ariya, I'm not sure how to pronounce
Ariya.
it. The Ariya, okay. Third position, obtaining 211 points, and the Kia Niro was fourth with 200 points. By the way, speaking of pronunciation, we did a video, just released it on the Rivian, and it turns out that I'm pronouncing that incorrectly.
It's most commonly pronounced Rivian because it's a
Rivian.
mixture of Indian River, and they kind of put the two together, and that's because it was based off
Gotcha.
of the place where he grew up.
Well, this is probably where my foreign origins come through, because I'm bilingual, and German is my second or my first language, actually. And in German, there is only one way to pronounce a vowel. And if there is a deviation from that, they put two little dots on top of it, which is called an umlaut. So if you want to say the letter E, A, or E, you have to put an umlaut on top of it. Oh, I'm sorry, not E. No, U.
Yeah.
It's U. They don't do the E. That's right. Yeah.
Is it only for U's?
No. There are a few of them.
Oh,
but
okay.
E is not one of them, actually. So
that's funny.
with U, let's take that for example. If it is U, then there's no umlaut. If it's U, then you have umlaut on top. Yeah. So when I see Rivian, I'm trying to pronounce it saying
As you say,
A,
he
the
calls
way
them
that
as
you
he
say-
sees them.
Yeah.
Right.
Now you can put an umlaut on A. Then it becomes A.
There you go.
Yeah. So Rivian, you're going to have to put an umlaut on your A in order for the rest of the
Help
people
a
on this
guy
planet
out.
that follow these rules pronounce it correctly.
Yeah, the rest of us speak too much English and just call it Rivian.
So I need to say Rivian from now on. Okay. And there were a lot of people that commented on that. What the hell? Why is he pronouncing it that way?
Rivian?
Rivian, yeah.
Potato, I suppose. But I mean, when RJ pronounces it Rivian, it's like, all right, fine. It's a Rivian. Potato.
So it looks like from YouTube Shorts, Oz Mechanics.
Hey.
Good morning. Finally taking my first Tesla class at Vision Training in Kansas City. Outstanding.
Ooh, very cool.
Yeah, tell us more about this class. Maybe there are other people that would like to sign up, and if they're also sponsoring these classes in other parts of the country. There are a lot of people interested in learning how to do EV type work.
Is that what this is? Vision training? Is that specifically for mechanics to get more acquainted with EVs? What is that?
Don't know. We're going to have him tell us.
Yeah, we'd love to hear more about it, Oz. So thank you for pointing that out. And Smuggler on TikTok, they made another vehicle too. Oh, they're talking about the Taliban with another Corolla engine. That's, hey, got to keep a streak, I suppose. Well, when parts are plenty.
So can we throw another image up there? It's the Tesla mission image. When my son and I went up, we were invited to Fremont a few years ago to talk to their procurement team and engineering team. And what we found fascinating was that in the lobby, they have this sign up and with a clear definition of what the Tesla mission is, to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. Very cool mission, and it's definitely needed at this point.
And
with
it's
our
also
planet.
a play on words, to accelerate. Mm-hmm. It's not a gas pedal, it's an accelerator.
Pun intended, right?
I cannot tell you how many times I keep hearing that as you enter more in the EV space. It's not a gas pedal. Mm-hmm. It's an accelerator. It's a gas pedal. It doesn't have to push gas into the engine. It's just a gas pedal. It's what it does.
So it looks like TikTok coming in. Smuggler, hello Smuggler. They made another vehicle. Oh, we already talked about that.
It's okay.
He's talking about the Taliban.
Here's one from TikTok from Mighty Ford Ranger. Why are the Roadsters on the lifts? This is more of a good question for you. Why are the Roadsters on the lifts? Why is the battery out? What is the value of one of these? So kind of a couple of different questions, but kind of start with, why do you have to get them on a lift?
I think Mighty Ford Ranger on TikTok was watching our latest video of the Rivian. The Rivian video. I said that correctly. All right. The reason the Roadsters are up on the lift is because we have to pull the battery packs on many of them because the battery packs require some service. And the reason the battery's out is because there aren't really any access ports in a Tesla Roadster to work on the battery. You actually have to drop a 1,000-pound cube, put it up on some hydraulics, and then you can crack it open to work on the electronics and the batteries that are inside the pack. As far as the value of the Roadsters, they are currently in a depressed market. At the beginning of last year, we were able to get about $120,000 to $130,000 for a Roadster, which had doubled within a year, actually, from about $50,000. And then as the events of last year progressed through spring and the craziness in Europe and inflation, today Roadsters are selling in the neighborhood of $72,000 to maybe $95,000. So
wow.
Substantially different. One that was highly collectible just sold for $100,000. It would have fetched in the stronger market $150,000 easily. It was a Martin Eberhard reverse color. Instead of the gray with orange stripe, it was an orange with gray stripes. And there was some Martin Eberhard connection in this car as well, since the owners were friends.
I think that this is directly connected to the fact that used Tesla prices have been dropping like a stone over the last couple of months, and it's partially due to the the COVID craze where people would flip them super quick. They'd buy a Model X for $100,000 and then own it for 3 months, resell it for $130,000. People were able to do that for a long time, and so they'd make a few bucks on that. But now you've got this super depreciated used market, specifically in the Tesla space, where now you can get these older. I look at Model S's a lot. You look at these older Model S's, and they're sub $30K for good condition. I don't know if all of them are refurbished per se, but hey, I think all of them are in good working shape. So you can get a used Model S for sub $30K thanks to this kind of depreciated market.
The range of choices has exploded just within the last year as well. There's so much more inventory
within the last week.
Yeah.
Because of those price drops.
From YouTube Shorts, Anthony Ba, thank you for keeping Roadsters on the road.
Thank you for keeping Roadsters on the road.
That is something that we do constantly, and cars are constantly coming in from all over the United States.
Yeah, from Mark Minnis on TikTok. This is a great one. Richard, this one's for you. Will Canoe make it through startup to profitability? I say yes.
I say yes too.
I say nothing definitive, but I want it.
Exactly. Yeah. Our hope is that they do and that they will. We are in new territory though. All these new EV startups and everything going on. This is the first time these people are walking this road, right? So it's hard to say. We can have hope, and we'll just kind of, maybe keep on pumping money into their stock. We are not financial advisors. I'm kidding. Yeah, I hope. We hope. But we'll see where Tony drives the company.
Put on for a moment your investor hat, all right? And you want to increase your portfolio. You want to invest in something that's going to get you a high rate of return. So what would you do? Well, you would go out and look at companies that you can invest in that have potential. You would be looking at their engineering talent. You would be looking at their facilities that they've evolved. You'd be looking at the passion and commitment with the people that are creating the company, and then looking at the successes that they've had. So this question of will this company make it, this company make it, it all has to do, I think, with the strength of the company. Some of these companies, I won't mention names, they get infused with some capital, with some investment capital, and they go hog wild crazy, spending money like drunken sailors on gyms for the employees and, fancy cars and high salaries and all that. Wrong. That is not what's going to make that company survive. You've got to be lean and mean to get through that phase. As Elon often points out, starting a car company is one of the toughest things that you can do.
Absolutely.
And you're going to be in cash burn mode, and you have to watch those shekels even more carefully. So that would be, I think, the answer to that question is look at the company. Look at how responsible the management team is. Do they have a product that's beginning to evolve into something that is that can be scaled? And then the question answers itself.
Yeah. And it's so often we see companies and products specifically, I think, that were great products, great ideas for the time, and it just was so poorly mishandled that they never actually either came to market or they never continued production.
Yeah. Or they spent money like drunken sailors and went under.
There you go.
TikTok, Something Wong, welcome back.
Hey!
Is this the Tesla rebate crying club? Ouch, those rebates, LOL. Yeah, you got that right. Whenever there are big rebates, it's the people that bought prior to the rebates in place that are suffering a bit.
But the product speaks for itself, so hey, everybody's still happy. But yeah, that's a rough time period if you're that guy.
Wait a minute. YouTube Shorts, Anthony Ba. Rich Rebuilds is also offering classes. I thought he said glasses, sorry. If those guys start wearing sunglasses, I'm going to say, hey, come on, guys. This is our
a little
thing.
nod, perhaps. A little crossover.
So he's offering classes at all 3 of their electrified garage shops. Well, that's great. If he's got the bandwidth to do that, I'd love to do that here, but our guys are so busy fixing cars, we can't do classes, Although, our YouTube channel, keep an eye on that because we're starting a tutorial program.
Hey!
Developing videos that can be used for exactly that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that.
I was disappointed. I was hoping Rich would start wearing some sunglasses.
He wears glasses. They're not sunglasses, but he wears glasses.
Yeah, no, he needs sunglasses to really, match what we're doing.
We're still working on getting sunglasses as
swag.
Swag, yeah.
So, did you guys see last week a Tesla Model S ended up in a swimming pool? And
that's unfortunate.
I love the article.
They're not supposed to go there.
According to Insider Report, 3 passengers were traveling in a car when the female driver accidentally hit the accelerator instead of the brake. Why did they have to throw female in there? There's definitely a stigma that female drivers aren't. It's a stigma. I'm not agreeing with this.
Exactly.
Are not as capable as male drivers.
This is just the news.
Yeah.
It's just the news.
Well, anyway, what happened was this sent the car through a wall at a home on West California Boulevard. Oh. The residents were present inside the house, but weren't aware of what was happening outside.
Gosh. Is everybody okay? Well, did everyone...
it goes on. They must have had the TV blaring or something. Okay. There it is. There's the picture, yeah.
Oh, no.
Now, the first thing that jumped to mind here is, you remember Chet, Uncle Chet? He tried to drive through a trough with all kinds of weights in his Model S, and the damn thing floated twice. He just could not prove that you can turn a Model S into a submarine, and here these people inadvertently sink it without an issue. I think the difference here was, as soon as they opened a window or a door, the water came rushing in, and that's what Uncle Chet probably did incorrectly. He should have been in scuba gear. He should have let the windows down, let that water come in, and he would have proved that you can turn a Model S into a submarine.
They say that the best comedy comes from tragedy. And I'm assuming that everyone made it out okay so we can laugh, right? Did we get confirmation that, okay.
There is more in the article. They said staff members of a nearby preschool turned Samaritans as they jumped into the pool to save the passengers in the car, including a grandmother, a boy 4 years old, and of course the female driver.
Oh my gosh.
Before the car sank to the bottom of the pool. That's something else that's kind of silly. How deep was this pool? Maybe 5-6 feet?
Well, look, you can see the top is still sticking out, so I'm guessing it's about a 5-foot pool.
And then the final part was there were no injuries reported. Excellent. And the Tesla was later towed out of the pool. How do you tow it out of the pool?
The same way you got it in.
Crane it because you've got walls all the way around there. There's no ramp. The ramp is facing the house or the steps. Oh, no, there's a jacuzzi there. So I'm not sure how they got it out. Craning would seem like the logical choice, but maybe more details will reveal themselves. Maybe our viewers will chime in.
Well, I'm just glad that everybody made it out safe. I mean, especially with a grandmother and a child in the car. And, hey, points to Tesla, because that thing was durable enough and capable enough to keep everyone safe in the event of such a horrible accident like that.
Yeah, I mean, going through a block wall, I mean, that's got to create some kind of damage, you know.
Teslas have also been pretty helpful recently. You were just telling me a story before the air, and I'd love to talk about that, because there's another guy in a Tesla who's going around committing some crime in California.
In SoCal, the road rage guy. They've got videos and pictures of him, and apparently he drives a Tesla. He stops in front of whoever is behind him in a Tesla, and then gets out with a crowbar and comes out and starts beating on the car or whatever. One woman actually got a black eye. Apparently he hit her. But it's amazing to me that in this day and age of AI and facial recognition, that all of this footage that's out there, this guy hasn't been nailed yet or identified.
Probably soon, I would think. But yeah, I mean, well, and I was going to give points to Tesla for introducing, more cameras on the car. And people kind of comment on how useful it is when it comes to AI tech. Sure. But for something like this, where, we got to find a guy to serve some justice here, it's nice to have a couple extra eyes around to see, what this guy looks like.
Do you know what I'm thinking? Can we pop up a link? If you type in SoCal Road Rage, I think it'll pop up. Maybe we can post his face up here, and some of our viewers may recognize him and say, what the hell is Uncle John doing beating on a Tesla,
I don't know. Well, actually, speaking of good eyes, and back to our sunglasses from earlier, from user stringing numbers on TikTok, I like those glasses. Cool. And I like
Excellent. You. Yeah, thank you for joining us. From M. Tobin 9220, I'm not sure I would jump in a pool of water with an electric car.
Can't say I'd do that by choice either.
Yeah.
No.
Those were brave
like
people,
a bad idea.
Or they were not knowledgeable. Technically, though, in order to create a hazard, you would have to complete a circuit. And I'm not sure that, there's so many safety mechanisms in the Teslas that shut things down in this event. You have things like immersion fault detection, and you've got, it opens contactors and it makes things much safer.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
I mean, hey, was number one most safe car in the world. Mm-hmm. Up until the Rivian took place.
I wonder if during validation testing, that's one of the things that they do with the test vehicles is drive them in a lake just to see how they respond.
Some pool. I'm sure they got a pool.
Yeah.
I'm sure they've done that test. I'm sure that's exactly why that Tesla was able to keep everyone safe, is because they dropped that thing in a pool hundreds of times.
Sure. All right, should we talk about the...
real quick, I got that video.
Oh, you got the video.
So hold on one second.
All right.
And there's a couple good comments here that we could get to first.
Yeah, we've got quite a few.
We do.
Oh, well then let's do that.
All right.
Lovely. Do we want to pull out that video?
Yeah. Let's see if we can get this this guy identified.
If you've seen this man, please call the police.
Yeah.
All right, guess. So this is from his car?
No, this is the...
This is someone else? Oh, okay.
This is the victim's car. Now, there's that...
So black Tesla pulls into the speeding lane, slams on the brakes, jumps out. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's got some...
We don't see anything right now. We haven't seen... Okay. He's back in frame. I guess he did what he wanted to do, and then road rage...
So if any of you recognize him, please let the authorities know. Or call us and we'll let
I didn't even see a
know.
plate on the back, so it looks like he's like... Yeah, that's...
But yeah, if you Google it a bit further, apparently this is not an isolated one-time incident. It wasn't just road rage with one instance. It was a number of them, and I think 17 comes to mind or something like that.
No, thank God for dash cams. Thank God for dash cams. Core Glass on YouTube is four-wheel drive. Oh, this is a great question. Is four-wheel drive worth it with a Model S? I'm assuming all-wheel drive. If you live in a dry area with limited snow and rain.
Most people like the four-wheel drive or the dual motor for performance. So if you get a P100D, for example, D is the dual motor, it's going to be faster than one without the D. And by faster, I mean 0 to 60 times. Top speeds are pretty well limited on these cars. And these days, if you're buying a used Tesla, the difference in cost will be negligible. I'm not sure that people are that focused on whether it has four-wheel drive or two-wheel drive.
Yeah, especially with all-wheel drive. But I will tell you, as someone who grew up in Colorado, every Coloradan agrees you just always get an all-wheel drive. That's why Subarus are the most successful cars out there, is you just have to have an all-wheel drive car. And I think the same is somewhat true in areas like San Diego with a lot more hills and things like that. An area like Phoenix is a great place for having a rear-wheel drive car because it's relatively flat. We don't get a lot of rain or snow comparatively. We get rain, but places like that, that's part of the discernment process. But at least for me, I'm so used to driving something that has all-wheel drive or has the capability of using all the tires to spin. So that's kind of what I look at personally. My brother actually had a Mustang. He had a 2017 Mustang, I think, for a little bit while we were living in Denver, and he had it for maybe a year before he sold it because you can't drive that in the snow.
Really?
It's not meant for it. It's just not worth it.
What I find amazing is you see these four-wheel drive Teslas in snow, and with all that weight, low center of gravity.
Yeah.
They're just able to get through that snow almost
It's so
like a
funny,
Jeep.
though. They just crawl around in it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible. I think that's another big reason why people love Rivians, too, is because, there's things are designed for, in these big EV trucks, they're lower center of gravity, or it's more centered, and you've got all this torque that's able to pull this thing across the ice. And in fact, the guys at Tesla Time News tried to use one as a shovel, or they tried to plow the snow with their F-150 Lightning, and it turns out the infrastructure changed just enough on the Lightning so that you can actually use snow plows.
Really?
On
That'd be
the
cool.
truck.
Yeah.
Well, you can't.
You can't is
You
what you're
cannot.
saying.
No, you cannot. It's so not great. And the reason why is because when they were installing the frunk, they had to lower a certain bar that is normally used for mounting these snow plows, and since that doesn't fit anymore, so
I read about that. Yeah.
kind of unfortunate. It's like and it's such a big frunk. It kind of makes you wonder, did they really have to do that? And that they knew that going in because the F-150 is so well known for doing that. So yeah, it was a great video worth checking out.
So we have a technical question here from Instagram,
Hey.
Soulstone2. Hey guys, I have a technical question. I currently have a 22 Model S long range and was wondering, even though it has the plaid battery pack, why does the acceleration even feel like the older Model S's? Older Model S's are faster 0 to 60 than the new Model S. More info on 60-foot acceleration, I mean.
He bought a 22 plaid?
I don't know how to answer that. You've got a number of questions there. If it's a 22, I would start with the Tesla Service Center. Grab one of the guys, take him out for a test drive. If you really want to do this, get yourself one of these little draggy boxes. It's like a GPS box. And as you're in your car, it will actually record your 0 to 60 times. So you can prove it to them.
There you go.
Show them on your phone app and say, hey, there's something not right about this plaid.
Well, the other thing, too, Pete, is I don't think the long-range models have a lot of the performance features that
A
regular plaid or, even an older, ludicrous mode would have. Or
Oh, is that
something
right?
like that.
Yeah, because plaids are rear-wheel drive, correct? And you only get it in rear-wheel
plaids,
drive?
I believe, were all-wheel drive, weren't they?
Oh, were they? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I would start with the Tesla Service Center. You've got warranty. All right. Any Instagram, AJR16, any place to learn EV training in Canada? I wish I could answer these questions, but we don't know of any learning institutions that have really in earnest picked up an EV training course. It's coming, of course. We all know that there's a huge gold rush of opportunity there, but I think the biggest problem for these incumbent learning institutions is getting the curriculum nailed down.
I'm surprised too because Canada's had a particular push, with Project Arrow coming out, where it's the combination of all the Canadian automakers coming together and trying to make the perfect EV, really.
Sure.
So you would think that they would have some other infrastructure with education as well. And I'm sure it probably exists. We'd love to do so. It'd be worth looking into a little bit to find out more about that. But as far as we know, we don't know any specific places for EV education, but
it's coming.
It's coming.
Yeah.
If it's not already there, it's coming.
And we'll be doing tutorials too. This year is definitely the year that we launch some of that online training.
Yeah, that's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
From Oakshade104 on Instagram, if I buy a used Roadster, how much would it cost to drop the battery for a checkup and renew it?
All right.
That's a good question.
A used Roadster, if you're interested, go to our website. We've got the largest Roadster selection of vehicles for sale on the planet. It's the Gruber Motors, and just go to Roadster Matchmaking, I think is what we call it. And you'll see a bunch of Roadsters for sale.
Well, I think he's talking about, he's found a Roadster and he wants to be able to essentially check out the battery. He wants to drop it for a checkup and then, refurbish it.
Okay. So the next part of this is you don't need to drop it to do a checkup, or there's nothing to renew. The reason we drop battery packs is there's a problem. You can tell a lot about the condition of the battery by doing a calculated amp hour capacity read, and that can easily be done on the vehicle display screen in the car. If you're interested and you have a car in mind that you would like to buy, we can send you a newsletter that tells the seller how to provide you the CAC information, which will give you the health of the battery. What that essentially is it's the calculated amp hour capacity of the battery, which is the amount of stored energy that it can contain. So you can send that question or that request to ev@gruber.com, and we will send you information that you can send to the seller.
Here's a fun question from Smuggler on TikTok. What are the chances that Ford will come out with 100% EV Maverick? They make the hybrid.
What do you think?
I think that it's inevitable. Because not only are they already starting to composite between Ford Blue, which is their more gas car line, and I forget the name of the other side of the company that's trying to transition specifically to EVs. I think especially with the success of the Lightning, it's just inevitable because people crave that, kind of mid-ground, perfect middle ground, little truck that's super efficient, but also can do truck things. And especially with that added torque from electricity, it's a no-brainer in my mind.
Mark Minnis was there a second ago, and he said a buddy of mine turned me on to the Tesla Christmas music show. He's probably talking about the
I saw someone
X.
doing that when I was in California, that he had his buddy coming on, and it's like, it's got the whole light show, and it'll, you open the doors to, I think, show other lights.
Oh, and then you got Mannheim Steamroller blasting, and I mean, it's a compelling reason to buy a Model X.
Yeah. They do a little, and that was an over-the-air update, I think, that lets you kind of unlock that. It was like a little seasonal thing.
Right.
For all my gamer friends out there, it is the winter update. We got some great questions here from Brian on TikTok. Sent you a DM over Instagram. He's in Vegas. 1 in 10 vehicles is a Tesla out there.
Out here,
oh yeah, because I mean with boring tunnels going out there too. Yeah, you guys are kind of a good hotspot for especially Tesla.
Speaking of places that have a lot of Teslas, this one had me falling off my chair earlier this week. The guy said, we just got news that Wyoming is going to ban electric vehicles by 2035. And I thought, no, you guys got that wrong. Everybody is banning ICE vehicles by 2035.
I think it's a joke and it's not a joke. Because on the one hand, you can't mandate it either way. And I know that that's a point of controversy, but the reality is that this is a natural demand. Guys like us naturally love the product itself. It's a great cause. It's a great product itself. The forcing into it is probably a little jumping the gun a bit. And so these people in Wyoming are like, oh, cool, we'll just do the opposite.
Well,
and they introduced the bill. We don't know if it actually passed.
Yeah, there's some suspicion it's tongue-in-cheek and it was a middle finger to California, but the article goes like this. It says, we agree that different regions of the country are positioned in different ways when it comes to EV adoption. But we see through the legislators' intent with this bill because they added a line that says that, should the bill be adopted, a copy will be sent to the governor of California. Well, why might that be? There's no secret that Wyoming is the host of a lot of ICE or fossil fuel development and mining and, and that they have what they call in the article here a flowery love for the oil and gas industry.
They're number 8 in, is it North America for oil production?
I think so. I think it's way up there, yeah.
Yeah, it's not insignificant in that area.
And of course they say the oil and gas industry in Wyoming has created countless jobs and has contributed revenue to the state of Wyoming throughout the state's history. Guys, here's the clue here. Have you been watching what's happening to the planet? We've got to stop this fossil fuel effort and begin to scale it back rather than encourage it. So granted, it was tongue-in-cheek, and hopefully it'll generate a lot of visibility. But it's absolutely the wrong direction, and you know, if it was humorous, you get a lot of extra stars for the level of humor that this injected into the industry.
Well, it was definitely funny.
Yeah.
I laughed when I saw that. And you know, there's a lot of commentary about, you know, well, notice it's scaling back. Is it completely replacing? Because we see areas that try to completely replace it that unfortunately sustainable energy just isn't at the level where it can completely overtake it. We've got a graph actually that can show sort of the opposite. There's a trend that's suggesting that more of these renewable energy sources can completely replace it. I'm personally not convinced that it's there yet because you still have areas of California that are completely dropping power and that are completely trying to get on renewables that aren't backed by fossil fuel to at least support it.
Right.
So it's and that's what I was trying to get at earlier. It's a natural scaling back. Like, it's not something we like. It's something that we're just going to have to keep dealing with for a limited time until we can get these energy sources to the point where, yeah, they're a good sustainable option that you would never know whether it was fossil fuel or sustainable or whatever because of its stability.
All right,
Unfortunately,
guys, we are at 46 minutes. We have a lot of questions to get through.
We've got
Let's
a
do it.
YouTube Shorts comment actually from Anthony Ba, and this one is kind of to the point, and humorous. What he says is, "Glad to see Taker State, Wyoming waste taxpayer money with that nonsense. This is the U.S. government now, children running the show. Why does this state even get 2 senators?" Is that a strong opinion?
you know, oh boy, welcome to America, where it's literally the greatest show. It is. Yeah. That is the greatest show, unfortunately. One day we'll get politics to a point where it's taken seriously. Today was not that day.
So I got a news item here that everybody is anxiously waiting for.
We got 10 minutes left. Do you want to go ahead and do some of these real quick before we get? Because
Yeah. All right.
I like your article.
Right,
we should definitely
let's
end with it. So Oakshade104 on Instagram. Will fire companies have to change methods if battery packs catch fire? They already have. They're talking about fire brigades in the first responder response to EV fires.
And of course, as battery technology continues to evolve, the risks will begin to decline and diminish. But in the meantime, I assure you, all of the first responders are heavily focused on trying to get solutions for these types of fires. Do you remember last week we talked about that Lucid?
Yep.
30-foot flame shooting in the air.
And we also talked about the different battery cells that are trying to navigate that. So right now you've got LFP cells and you've got lithium-ion cells. Lithium-ion cells are known for catching fire more easily, but they're more energy dense.
Yeah.
Whereas you've got lithium-iron cells, which are not as prone, if at all, to being able to catch fire at the cost of a little bit of energy density. So there's a little bit of a trade-off there. But right now we have both.
All right, so on Instagram, Soulstone2, he says, if Uncle Ched lived, you will. He's suggesting we try it. And
tried some fire prevention.
No, talking about rolling down the windows so that he can actually navigate through this trough that he
And to be clear, we were there with Uncle Chet the whole time. We helped him outfit his car to go into the water. We filmed it all. We were there for all of that, so we are very well aware of how that went.
Part of the prepping process was to close off the orifices in the car to make it truly floatable. And you know, there were certain vents, and we even put Vaseline on connectors so that there would be no water ingress in the electronics, and you could safely actually drive this thing through so the car didn't shut down. But yeah, we were there both days. I remember it was middle of summer, 115 out or whatever, standing out there in the sun and waiting for the car to do its thing. But Uncle Chet, if you're watching, or if one of your social media people is watching, it looks like the trick is to keep the windows down. We'll put you in a scuba suit, and we'll let you drive through this trough with water inside the car, and we're not going to have any floating problems, I assure you.
From Robert NHRA on TikTok. When you guys find a bad cell in a battery pack, what goes into isolating it? Wires, soldering. What's a kind of a highlight reel of some of the things you do when that happens?
Most people think that we replace the battery, and you know, the notion that jumps to mind is when you've got a flashlight that's no longer working, you open it up, you change the cells, and you're functioning again.
Right.
The problem with these 18650 multi-cell battery packs is they are impregnated in a potting compound and you cannot get the cells out. In fact, there's a cooling jacket that touches every single cell in the Model S, X, and in the Roadster that would be damaged if you tried to drill out, chip out, knock out a battery. The issue is with 7,000 batteries in a pack, if you lose one, the car never realizes it. If you lose 20, the car would never care or realize. So what we end up doing is, since there are fusible links on both ends of the cell, by fusible link I mean a fine, thin wire, we simply snip that. It's kind of like a automotive vasectomy. Think about that for a moment.
I thought about it longer than I should have.
So that's how we isolate. The isolation is the tough part. We have sensitive test equipment that actually looks for that defective cell. Once we've identified it, it's fairly evident, and as soon as we snip it, you'll see we leave the meter on the cell, and you'll see the voltage drop. That's our final proof that we got the right cell, because a battery that is charged isn't going to drop rapidly, especially with no load. So that's how we know we get the bad cell.
It's better to have a slightly lower even voltage than it is to have a high voltage that kind of keeps darting all over the place. Chris Parker on YouTube got a 2018 Model 3, got a recall in the app over a year ago about a cable and the rear camera. The app said I'd be notified to replace, but Tesla never contacted me again. Should I call Tesla? Probably.
Yeah, I would, but you know, it sounds like a fairly, not a very serious recall. Maybe a camera malfunction would be the net result, but it doesn't look like, at least from the sounds of it, it may not be a safety issue. But like Zane suggests, calling Tesla and reminding them is probably your best approach.
Tesla's been notorious about the sort of lack of communication, unfortunately, when it comes to their service centers and certain things like that. Most of the time, if you try to get it, I've even heard horror stories when people try to buy a used Tesla from, say a dealership, private party, whatever, and they want to bring it into a service center to get it checked out before they actually buy the car, and they'll just never hear from the service center. They just will never hear back from them, and so the guys are like, well, I don't want to buy the car until I could, really check this thing out,
Yeah.
and and granted, service centers are typically pretty busy, just with kind of taking care of other little things on other cars. I don't know how busy they are particularly, but...
All right, we are at 53 minutes, guys. Let's keep it going.
So, TikTok, Mark Minnis, is there any such thing as battery health monitoring? This question comes up often. There is no aftermarket product available yet that will dive into your EV battery and give you a health reading, although, as I've said many times, for those of you that are interested in investing in something, that is going to be a very important tool for all of these EV owners in the future. So I highly suggest that those of you that have any kind of software expertise begin to think about this.
I know, you would think that we'd already have the EV equivalent of an OBD2 sensor, or scanner, excuse me, but...
Scott Gruber from YouTube, do you think the new battery type Chevy is putting into the Equinox and Blazer is better than Tesla's? Better and worse is a tough question for us because we don't see the Chevy Equinox in our shop able to do reverse engineering.
It's not even out yet. The Equinox is supposed to go on sale later this year, but
And I'm sure if you ask GM, they would say, well, ours is better.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm sure they would say that. Time will tell on that one. From YouTube Shorts, Phoenix EAA, and gas cars catch fire 10 times more often. They do run on fire.
Yeah, they do.
It is important to remember.
But remember, the ones that make the headlines are not going to be the ICE vehicles. They're going to be the EVs, which is new and scary, and we fear.
And change is bad and scary.
Yeah.
Oz Mechanics on YouTube Shorts. Also, ATG Training is going to offer a 2-day EV and hybrid training in Phoenix in February.
Interesting.
Very cool.
Okay.
Good to know. Mart on YouTube, thoughts on the difference between Tesla Powerwall and Tesla car battery tech and the volt ratings? That is a good question. I mean, I suppose it's because the Powerwall serves a different function.
Yeah, it's the Powerwall is basically a module from an EV, from a Tesla EV. Same fundamental technology. So very little difference between those two other than the application.
Although it is funny because there's some talk when the Ford Lightning got released and how it was vehicle to home, and so people are like, hey, Powerwalls are expensive, or they're like just slightly more expensive than just buying a Ford Lightning. So people would buy a Lightning, and not only would they have the equivalent of a Powerwall, but they would also have a new truck.
Yeah. Vehicle to home. YouTube Shorts, Anthony Ba. I can only speak from my personal experience. Once a new service center was opened near me, it's been stellar service. And you know, that's the common feedback that we get. Now, you know, this question of they don't get back to me. We're in sales, and you know, in this day and age, contacting people has become increasingly more difficult because they have so many things to hide behind. Very few people answer the phones anymore or return voicemails. Now you have texting. You know, you've got voicemail. You've got email. There's so many ways to contact people.
There's probably too many.
Yeah.
That's probably why we can't get it. We can't contact anybody because there's too many ways to contact somebody.
So TikTok, Shovelhead233. He says, why do you guys always wear glasses? Are you rock stars?
Yes!
Yes, we are. I'm glad that you finally recognized it.
Yes, we are.
And you too can be a rock star when you're watching our podcast. Put on your sunglasses, and we'll all be rock stars.
Pete, we're at 57 minutes. You want or
Perfect
56 minutes.
ending.
You want to do that article? How much is it?
You know, I've got an article here that I'm excited about that I just want to get out.
We got to talk about it.
And I don't have a picture of it though, but talking about the new Tesla Roadster, you know, that was announced in 2017. There were some big promises made when it came to performance. Well, apparently one of these little voice-only podcasts got an audience with Franz von Holzhausen,
Hey!
which, by the way, in German means Frank Woodhouse.
Oh, there you go.
And some of the guys at Tesla used to call him that, actually. I found
Oh,
that
what
humorous.
house?
Yeah. What he said on this podcast was that the majority of metrics that were originally touted for this new Tesla Roadster have now been exceeded. He said, if you want an example of that, take a look at the Tesla Model S Plaid, which has already matched the specs of the first of this new Roadster that they announced in 2017, despite being substantially heavier than this new Tesla Roadster. So even if they change nothing in technology and they put a Plaid-type power plant in this thing, it's going to be faster just because they've shaved so much weight off it. But anyway, he was saying that there are a number of other things that he couldn't go into that are going to exceed the original projections. So he said, just let your imagination run wild a bit. So for those of you still anxiously waiting, I changed my Facebook picture, by the way, to the new Roadster, and it's actually Franz driving the new Roadster. Tribute to you, Franz. That was a good design.
That's awesome.
But anyway, one of the comments in there was that that this new Roadster, when was it going to come out, you know? And my comment or my response to that was, you know, they've got a lot of other things to work on. And it's very difficult for a manufacturer that has a demand like they do for their traditional scalable cars to divert resources to something that is so specialized. And I think it will come out. There's no doubt about it. Tesla has always
got to
delivered.
come out, but it seems like it's coming out a lot sooner than
it should.
knock on
It
wood.
should be coming out sooner.
Should be coming out soon.
So anyway, the good news is they're still committed. They're still talking about design improvements. They're working on new metrics, and it'll be interesting when it comes out.
Well, and we've got so many new competitors in the space with the Corvette mid-engine hybrid. We've got the Hyundai hydrogen concept. I always forget the name of it. Darn it. We've got the new Hellcat, the electric Hellcat, and now whatever is coming out of Afghanistan.
Should we say it again, though? Chevy, what were you thinking? Creating a Prius on steroids with your new hybrid Corvette. Everybody else is going the opposite direction. We're getting rid of the ICE stuff because it's high maintenance. And why combine two of them in one car? You could have just gone 100% electric. Now, if you want the noise, just have a little recording in there that makes the Corvette noise.
That's what Teslas do.
Yeah.
You can do that.
All right.
Or just go full gas. You can still do that, technically. You can still do that.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not you should, hey, that's up to you. Well, you can.
Well, it looks like we have exceeded our time limit for
Yep,
this.
we're good. If you want to read that last statement from Anwar, and then we will make sure to promote Spotify.
Let's go. From Good Morning, Gruber Company. It's Anwar. In Kuwait, it's apparently very cold. At 30
Freezing
degrees.
at 30 degrees Fahrenheit.
EVs
Wow.
don't like that either.
Yeah. Just below freezing.
Well, thanks for joining us. We hope you stay warm. We hope everybody stays warm, or if it's too hot, you stay cool wherever you guys are at. Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode.
We'll see you Thursday at 8:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time.
Make sure to tell people we are on Spotify.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we are
Announce our
everywhere.
platforms.
Spotify. Guys, check us out on Spotify. We keep adding. Eventually, I think we're going to just have to put a list up behind us, letting everybody know
part
on
of the
various
credits.
streaming. Yeah, exactly.
Well, we've got links to it all, right? We've got links to it all in each video.
Yep, we'll get the links out there for people, and this video will be up the day after, so it's a day behind on Spotify, but you can watch it on there, or you can do audio only in the app on your phone.
It's good that there's a delay because it makes it special for all of you joining us live to get to come talk to us. So that's a pretty cool little deal.
As always, we want everybody to know we really appreciate you. We appreciate your support. We appreciate your commitment to this planet-changing initiative. And we will do our best to continue to provide you content that is entertaining, meaningful, and interesting. We'll see you Thursday. Thank you.